Hey, what's up everyone, it's your girl Brain Shanae, and today I want to do a book review for Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. This is her third book that she has done. She has done many other books that she has collabed with from many authors, especially the other one that had came out, which is Blackout, which had Angie Thomas, Danielle Clayton. It had Tiffany D. Jackson. Nick Stone was also part of the book. So she had that book come out around the same time this one came out, or I think right after this one. And so for this one, I was so excited to get it. I pre-ordered it, and I also got the signed edition. And so I just wanted to give you pretty much a review about this book because I really loved it. I found it really realistic on certain things that were happening within this book, especially when it comes to family dynamics and what have you. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to share my opinions about the book. And so let's get started on this review. So for this book, the main character is Evie Thomas. Evie Thomas is in high school. She pretty much at the very beginning of the book, she tells us that she is done with love. She wants nothing to do with it, just based on what examples that she has seen, and she's thinking like, I don't want any part of it if this is the outcome of what I get when I actually fall in love with someone, you know, for the very first time. So she says this because, like I said, she sees examples in her life, especially from her dad. One day she wants to talk to her dad because I believe her dad is a professor, and she saw something that she wished she did not see, and it changed her whole perspective of love, and her father as well. So herself and her father's relationship was just not good. She wants to end everything with him. She just felt like what he did pretty much destroyed their entire family, because she felt like their family was like, you know, together, like nothing, it was perfect. Her mom and dad loved each other so deeply, but what she saw, she couldn't understand. And she was like, okay, if this is what love is, if this is what somebody does to someone that they really love, then I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want any part of it. And so as she feels this way, and as she's really just pissed off at her father, she's just riding her bike, and randomly she sees this free library. And as we all know, free libraries are pretty much where you see on the street. They have like they're not like mailboxes, but you can open them up and they're free books. So she sees a free book library out on the street, and this is also in California. And so for that, she's looking at this book, and then this woman just out of nowhere appears. She's like a older woman, elderly woman, and she just appears out of nowhere, and she gives Evie this book, you know, because it's a free library. And Evie looks at it, and it says Instructions for Dancing. And then next thing she knows, the lady was like, maybe you should return it back to its owner. And she's like, okay. So the book says the address, and as she gets to the location, it's Labrie Dance Studio. So she looks around the studio. Next thing you know, she sees a lot of people foxtrotting, the waltz, the tango, what have you. And next thing you know, a woman pretty much volunteers Evie to be part of this competition for amateurs in her age group. And she's like, okay, okay, I wasn't expecting this. So we have that. And then after she leaves the dance studio, as she's pretty much was somebody committed for herself to be part of this little amateur dance competition in order to help the studio get more recognition, more marketing, and what have you, she starts seeing things as when people kiss, she instantly sees people's circumstances of a relationship, whether they break up, their relationship ends from death, you know, or cheating. She just sees each relationship's end, and they're different. And she's like, what is going on? How come that when I see a couple kiss, I see what's going to happen to them at the end? And so she just did not understand. So she shared this with her one best friend. She has three, and her male one best friend, and he just did not understand. Like, what? Seriously, you do see that? And she's like, yeah. And so we have that. So she's going through this. And so next time when she goes to the studio, she meets a guy named X, which is short for Xavier. And he's pretty much nonchalant. He's fun. He's does the unexpected, you know, he does things on a whim, and she doesn't really do that. And she was very admired him about that about himself, because she wanted to be something like that, and she was like that prior to what occurred with her mom and her father. And so they get to know each other. And X, he's also in a band, and the reason why he's motivated to pretty much keep his band together is because his best friend that was in the band, he passed away, and he wanted to keep his memories alive. So they constantly he played his band, and then on top of that, he dropped out of school because he felt like his band was enough. And you know, his X's family, or his father, really disagreed on his decisions and just felt like he was wasting his life and opportunities for himself. But X at that time just did not care. He wanted to focus on his band. And he just moved to California. I forget from where. I believe it's in a small town, but I don't remember where it was. And so he had Evie pretty much give him a tour. They did like the bus tours of like the celebrities and stuff like that in their houses. And he was just so astonished and amazed at all the big houses and stuff like that. He wasn't upset that he didn't get to see any celebrities, but he was like the fact that he was having a tour, but also a tour with Evie, who he really did like, but he was just, you know, tiptoeing around it. You know how boys are. They like to tiptoe, or even men, they like to tiptoe, you know, trying to get a feel of who the woman is or what have you. So next thing we know, they're also training, because he's also her partner for the competition, amateur competition. So they're training, and they're starting to get this connection with one another. And you know, when it comes to dancing, I don't know what it is. People start, when it's their partner, if it's professionally or not, it's something, I feel like they get this type of connection because you have to flow with each other. You know, it's based off of each other's emotions and movements with the body. So like literally Evie and X were just having this connection, and Evie was very scared of having this connection because she didn't want anything to do with love based on the examples she has seen, and also with these powers that she has where she knows what happens at the end of people's relationships when she sees them kissing. And so one day she has two other best friends. So I mentioned the male one, and then she has two other best friends, and they're girls, and the girls, they both like each other. And so with that, they end up kissing one time, and Evie sees the end of their relationship, and she was scared because what that meant for the end of their relationship, it was going to destroy their friendship and stuff like that. So she did not want that. She pretty much said that I really don't agree with the relationship, and literally like the girls were just pissed. They just stepped away from Evie, just letting her do her thing. But they really told her that they were tired of her negativity when it comes to love and everything like that. But she did not share with them why she felt that way. Technically, she didn't want to tell them, like, I know that your relationship's going to end on this day because of what she did or whatever. She didn't want to share with them her pretty much the power that she had at the time. And then also on top of that, with Evie's father, he is wanting to get remarried, and he wants Bree to attend, and Bree doesn't want to do that. And she just feels like if she attended, she felt like she was betraying her mom. And her sister just didn't understand at the time why Bree was acting this way. Or Evie, I said Bree. Evie was acting this way. But Evie did not share what she had seen with her little sister. She didn't want her little sister to know, and her mom said, don't tell her nothing. So her sister has a blind eye, so she still looks at her dad the exact same way as if nothing changed. It's just her and her father just had a fallout, and they just did not love each other anymore. But what Evie saw was definitely more than just that. That wasn't just why their relationship ended. So Evie was just trying to understand why her sister was like this, how come she was always in a different relationship, but it never worked out. It's just Evie was just letting her sister do her own thing at that point. And so one day, as Evie and X get closer as they're dancing with each other, they realize that they want to spend more time with each other. So they X ends up inviting her to one of his gigs at I forget, it's not like a bar or anything like that, it's like a club or something. And she was able to listen to his band for the first time, and she just fell in love with his band. And then out of nowhere, X and Evie start writing a song together, and it becomes pretty much a hit, and the band plays it and everything like that. And Evie loves spending time with X, and X loves spending time with Evie. But Evie doesn't want to put a label on what they are. X wants to, but he's trying to be more patient with Evie about it, because Evie shared with him what was going on between her mom and her dad and what she had seen, and he got it. So he was just being patient with her. So the next thing is we get to the actual competition. So they are able to move on. They get to the finals because they're really that good. And with all the training that they had at the Labrie studio and everything like that, they end up going to the finals. And so they do this final dance, the one dance that they have been practicing, they've been struggling with, but they were able to perfect it while at the competition. And at the last moments of the dance, Evie and X kiss. And that's when Evie freaks out, because when they kiss, she sees how their relationship ends, and she was devastated. And as the song was over, as the dance was over, she ran off completely, like disappeared. She didn't talk to nobody. She didn't talk to X. She didn't talk to the people that trained her for this amateur dance competition. She didn't. She just disconnected from everybody. And they didn't know why. But the thing is, she didn't know that they won the competition. They actually did win. But she didn't know because she ran off right after her and X kissed. And so she just was all over the place. She just didn't want to be part of nothing. She just wanted to be alone. And then out of nowhere, her male best friend was saying, like, hey, you need to talk to them, the two girls that fell in love with each other, and explain what was happening, and just say that you do support the relationship. And so she did that. And so that mended their relationship. And soon enough, the girls do end up breaking up. It does. The friendship that Evie wanted, the dynamic did change, but they were still friends. And so when it came to Evie and X, Evie never told X what was going on, but X was just really disappointed, and Evie was also disappointed in herself too, because she really cared for X, like so much. So they were friends. And then next thing you know, Bree ends up going to her father's wedding. Or first it was the bridal shower, getting to know his fiance. And she couldn't decide if she really liked her or not. But then once she got to warm up to her, she was like, oh, she seems like a nice woman. And next thing you know, she ends up attending at the wedding. Even though at first she didn't want anything to do with the wedding. She didn't anything to want to do with her dad's fiance. She didn't want nothing to do with it. But she ended up changing her mind, and she started becoming open-minded about certain things. And like, just because one relationship failed doesn't mean that you can't find love elsewhere. Love is around you, regardless if it's from just your friends, your friendships. That's you consider them family, and that's love right there. And she realized how much her dad loved this woman, and how this woman was also open to the fact that he had 2 daughters, and she was considering, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a mom to 2 beautiful young ladies. So she seemed like a really nice lady, and that's when Evie just gave in and was just happy for her father. And then she was also sad for her mom, but she realized that her mom was actually dating, and she also, like, even her mom confessed, like, I was the one, not your father, that ended this relationship. I ended it, even though what he had done, he still wanted to stay, but I said no. And I understand that completely, because I have examples like that in my life. Like, when I was a teenager, of course, just as Evie is, like, you had these terrible examples of love, and you're like wondering, like, if I have these terrible examples of love that's right in front of me, how do I know how to sustain the love that I have for someone? Where am I not, like, is the love for someone that I have going to still be there, or am I just going to fall out of love with them at a certain period of time once I'm tired of them? Like, you know what I mean? And I was like that. Like, I had, like, when I was in high school, I'm like, I'm done. I'm just probably gonna be single for a very long time. And this is like when I was like a sophomore in high school, like being a little bit over dramatic, because I just saw a lot of examples of it, and the relationships that I did have, they were just not I was settling. I really didn't care for them. It was just, they were there, you know. I know that sounds terrible, but it's the truth. And so I was just, no. Next thing you know, I pretty much meet my future husband. Like, yeah, it's just weird. Love comes at the most strangest times. Like, I wanted nothing to do with love. Next thing you know, I fell in love with someone who's now my husband. Like, you just don't know. It's really unexpected, which is what happened to Evie. She unexpectedly fell in love with X, and she did not want to, because after kissing him, she knew their end of their relationship and she didn't want any part of it. But after seeing her father happy with his now new wife, she wanted to talk to X, and she really wanted to. She pretty much confessed how she felt about him and what they wanted as far as their relationship. And so they became a thing. They are now a couple. So that is that's pretty much the gist of the book. And after when Evie pretty much confesses her love for X, that's when the powers go away. She doesn't see the end of people's relationships anymore just by watching them kiss, you know. So those powers were completely gone. And then the book that the elderly woman gave her, the instructions for dancing, she returned it back to the woman. And the woman was just giving her advice and stuff like that. And next thing you know, the woman disappears. So pretty much that elderly woman was the person that showed Evie the way on certain things about love. And yes, they do have endings, but they also have happy endings, even if it's not the ending that you want. Because also the love you have for someone, even during your journey with them, is amazing. And I think that's what Evie wanted to cherish the most with X, even though she knows what happens to them at the end and what happens to him at the end, you know, at the very end, and yeah, what ends their relationship. So like literally I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars because it's really that good. I like the different aspects of this book where it talks about your family dynamic. It talks about how love can be, it can be out of anywhere. It can be out of nowhere. Like, you say you want nothing to do with it, but then it just falls right. It's like right in front of you. It falls into your lap. And you're like confused because you're like, I just literally said I'm done with love. And why am I falling for this again? But it happens. It's a thing. And I think that's why, like, love is something that we need, even if it's not from a relationship. It's just from a mom, a dad, a grandparents, or aunts, or friends. Love is something that sustains us, something that we need, you know. And I just really appreciate this book so much. So once again, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars for sure. And I really do love, like I said, the dynamics, especially examples of love, how it comes and how it goes, and how it comes unexpectedly. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I hope you pick this up if you haven't read it. But that is my review. I don't want to keep y'all that long because I can go on and on about this book. But I really loved it. I have no complaints about it whatsoever. I really do feel like this book can also be another movie that Nicole Yoon will do, because with her first 2 books, she did a movie. She might as well do a movie for this one. And I feel like this is movie worthy. But yes, but anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this book review. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching, you guys, and please stay healthy and stay safe. See ya.